The Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast Markets with Chip Nellinger. Chip Nellinger is with Blue Reef Agri-Marketing out of Morton, Illinois. He's nice enough to come on and talk about what's happening in the marketplace. Chip, how you doing this morning?
Well, Casey, we finally got some of the rain moved out of here, and I tell you, for spring in Illinois, we have, other than the rain, obviously delaying planting, the temperatures have been fantastic, something we don't get very often. So, been enjoying that, and looks like the rain's going to clear out of here and allow for, some field work, some spraying, the last of planting. So things are shaping up around here for a pretty good start to spring here as we get to the last part of the crop planting.
Yep. And it's amazing how fast they can turn that dial. You know what I mean? They went from being way, way behind, now they're ahead of schedule. So it's amazing how fast they can get that signal turned around. So
well, they're well powered. They're well powered, and got a lot of planting power behind them too. So it doesn't take long.
That's for sure. No, it doesn't take long at all anymore. All right, let's jump over and talk about wheat. So a couple of developing stories that I think are really going to affect the wheat marketplace. Read an article this morning about India for the first time in 6 years are going to start taking in wheat imports, importing wheat. And that's a big deal because that's for the longest time they've been exporting wheat and rice out of the country. And then you start looking at the Russia situation, which we've talked about quite a bit. But if you look at where they're at now, are they knocking on the door of banning exports, right? And what would that look like? So I guess, Chip, one of the powder kegs kind of started exploded. We're waiting for the other one to go off, but right now we've got a lot of momentum in the wheat market, and it's kind of dragging everything else on with it reluctantly, as much as we see stuff moving around. But as you look at that wheat market, it's kind of the little engine that could right now.
Yeah, you want to talk about a quick change, right? It's been a bear market for 2.5 years, really, since that big flare up in prices with the start of the Russia-Ukraine war. It's been a bear market since then with a massive supply, and Russia has been probably the main culprit of a couple big crops, and they've just had massive amounts of wheat to put out on the world market, and really depressed our prices here. And things have really done a 180 there. So they are in the process of growing a crop here. They're on the same kind of seasonal schedule as we are here in the United States, and so they're getting ready to harvest a wheat crop that looks now like it's shrinking in their 3 or 4 week forecast here. At least 10-day forecast looks like it's warming up and very dry. They need rain. They need rain quickly, and the reports or estimates of that crop size has really shrunk down several million metric tons. Now kind of hovers around that 80 million ton mark. If it drops further, which it certainly could, if they don't get much more rain in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and now they're threatening some heat in the forecast as well, they could, potentially ban exports or curtail or limit exports. They've done that in the past with poor crops, so that they have to kind of walk that tightrope of supplying their own domestic needs, which is very large, versus what they have to export to the world market. So they play that balancing act yearly. They've had big surpluses the last 2 years. Now it looks like that's tightening up. And then in the same breath, one of the largest users of wheat has been India. They can typically grow enough to supply their domestic needs, but they had a crop problem, and it's estimated, and they've even admitted now, yeah, we're going to eventually have to import some wheat. And so those two items right there are massive to the world wheat market. You've got the European Union has not had the best growing season either, and so they don't have a bumper crop of wheat in Europe to help cushion some of the losses in Russia and Ukraine. And so this thing is really tightened up. You got one of the largest users in the world in India, and one of the largest exporter in the world is Russia. And now the question is, how much will Russia have to export? How much does India need to import? And those questions likely mean that any break that you see in wheat likely going to be short-lived. It could be violent, but there's probably going to be buying underneath the market. We're about to harvest a crop that maybe isn't record, but it's going to be bigger than it was a year ago, probably bigger than the last 2 years here. And so we look to maybe garner a little more export business as a result of what's happening in the rest of the world. And that really is a big question mark to the wheat market. You could still see explosive moves higher if the Russian wheat crop shrinks more, particularly if it's well under 80 million metric tons. Seems to kind of be the line in the sand here that the market's going to get really nervous about if it drops much further than that. And so very dynamic thing happening. Corn's really caught in the middle, right? I mean, you mentioned we kind of caught up fast on planting, and now corn's in the middle of that, because it very much matters what happens to wheat as a competitive feed grain on the corn side. So there's going to be some underlying support in corn that maybe we didn't have 6 months ago because of these big changes, rapid changes in the world wheat supply and demand situation.
Yeah, so this is an ever-evolving space here. It seems like there's plenty of feed here for the bulls as you start looking at the wheat market, and you need to get a couple of these things to Russia come out to say, hey, we're not going to export anything anymore. That's really going to make things move. And this India situation is even going to be a bigger mover as well. So you throw that together, and you could really start seeing. So talk a little bit about from your management plan as you're looking at what you're doing there. I mean, this is a good time to sit down and start making some adjustments to what you might be thinking about if you're a wheat producer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, it's been an opportunity, and we've been urging people to, go ahead and get fairly aggressive on some 24 production here, and even get a start on 25. We spent some time, at least on the Chicago wheat contract, north of 750 on the July of 25 contract, and there could, be some further upside, but. The volatility that we're expected to see in this wheat market is going to increase. You're going to see big swings now, I think, higher and lower. And, it allows for some opportunity where you sell the rallies or position on rallies with, protecting downside price risk. And then when you see the big sell-offs that are likely in this type of a market, maybe you come in and attach some calls, some further out of the money calls on some of those higher price sales. So it gives you opportunity. If you have a plan, you got to have a plan. And I'd mentioned too that the thing I didn't say, this Russia situation, it won't be overnight, right? You're not going to know next week or next month necessarily what they're going to do on exports. They are very much play a similar type game as China. They're not going to tell you what the crop size is. They're going to lie if they do tell you. You're not going to know to the last minute whether they're going to limit exports or ban exports, and that likely comes way down the road here. So that leaves this question mark: will they? Won't they? How much do they have to export? What's the crop size? It's going to be there for weeks and months to come, and so we're going to play this thing out slowly. In addition to that, how much does India have to import or need to import? All these questions aren't going to be answered, unfortunately, next week or even in the month of June. It's going to take several months. Might take till fall or winter to kind of get some more clarity on this thing. And so you will see big swings in the market as a result of that. And that should be part of, a producer's risk management plan, is to not necessarily trade every swing. I'm not trying to say that, but use those swings towards your advantage in kind of, maneuvering in this market to capture high prices when you see them. But then on big breaks, maybe do something to adjust that or attach calls and get some upside price potential in case this market does explode higher. I'd say if anything out there right now that's friendly, the wheat market probably is the friendliest. Now, that being said, it's rallied, $2 already. So we do have some bullishness built in. But if you get some of these things that continue to line up with India and the Russian crop continue to shrink, there could be a lot more upside to this thing before it's said and done in the wheat market. And that'll certainly affect corn and beans as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of the countries that are major wheat producers right now are suffering from drought situations. Look at Australia. There's really dry parts of Australia right now. You look at Argentina and some of their wheat producing areas. So there's a lot of pressure on the wheat market right now overall. And like you talked about, the volatility thing is going to be all over the place.
For sure. And that's a good and a bad thing, right? Because you saw how fast we went from a massive surplus, of exportable wheat, and then a couple crop problems in each hemisphere, and all of a sudden it shifts the deck a little bit, and all of a sudden we're looking at one of the tightest carryouts, stocks to use that we've ever had in the wheat market of exportable. Of countries that export, right? China is a big user. They don't typically export. India, exports a little bit. But of the exporting countries, we're looking at some of the tightest stocks we've seen in many, many years on the wheat side.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's shift over and talk a little about what's going on in the cattle and hogs. We talked a little bit about this before we got started, but the cattle on feed report came out, and nothing really changed there, but you said it was pointing to a direction that you should be paying attention to.
Yeah, we kind of rallied into the cattle on feed report, the previous week to 10 days. We had a long weekend with Memorial Day holiday there after the release of that report. And it wasn't earth shattering. It was really well pegged, by the market. The pre-report estimates were pretty much right in line with every category. But I think the take home there was the total number of head on feed was a couple 100,000, I believe, was a number lower than a year ago. So, this thing is still very, very tight, and the cash market continues to be strong, and the packers have done what they could to try to slow things down and back things up a little bit and boost box beef, and all that's been successful for them. but the pocket there still may be ahead of us as far as having some really tight numbers. And, I think that plays into the hands of feedlots right now. Obviously, corn's been at a higher level, and feeder cattle are screaming higher as well. And, it's hard to, manage margins in that environment. But right now, it looks to me like the feedlot has some leverage going forward. And, the Packers are going to do what they can to buy them cheaper, talk them down, slow the chain speed up. They're already doing that, but, it might be a little bit of a moot point. And the June contract, which is going to be coming into expiration here soon, still is well under where the cash market is. So you could see if the cash market holds together for another couple of weeks or rallies, you've got some room to converge the futures by going higher to catch up with where cash is. And so, again, that tells me that there could be a lot of volatility here in cattle, but going forward, it looks like they're on good footing. But not being a perma bull here, I think strength going into mid to in June, we need to really look out at the August and some of the fall and winter contracts and say, all right, are we at levels that we can protect prices with some sort of a strategy and still maintain some upside potential? Because that risk is always there. I think there's always questions now about the avian flu situation. Will that get worse? Are we behind it? So that could create its own massive volatility in its own right to overshadow some of the tight fundamentals in the cattle market right now.
For sure. All right, so let's talk about hogs. Lean hogs index was down. It's always down. It seems like it's always down here. The last couple of weeks, we've seen some spikes up. We've seen, and then about what they gain, they lose over the next couple weeks after that. So I guess, Chip, as you're looking at the hog market now, I mean, we're in that grilling season, demand time side of the year, I guess. So what are you seeing happen there?
Yeah, I mean, the hog market's been a little bit of a head scratcher. We rallied up, into the 103, 104 level, maybe a touch higher. Probably a little bit earlier than what we normally would see. So we've been a little bit counter seasonal. We just haven't seemed to get the traction in the products and the cash market like we've been able to hold together on the beef side. And so, some of that, we're real efficient. We've increased the pigs per litter. I think that you're looking at some bigger numbers. We're still feeding them pretty heavy. And so, we've got decent demand out there, but it's been a little bit slow coming, and it's been a little slow turning kind of the big ship around to kind of get this cash market stabilized. There is some good things coming, I think. But once we turn this calendar into June here later this week and into next week, it's really time to start seeing that cash market start to, hold together and rally a little bit for that prime grilling season. Like you said, I still think there's some upside here, but boy, if we don't start seeing things stabilize and rally on the cash side of hogs by mid-June, we may have some other issues at hand, whether that's oversupply or maybe demand's not quite as good, or that combination. If you don't start seeing a little bit of an uptrend here on the cash side, say in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we may have some bigger, longer term problems on the hog side.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Chip. Folks want to reach out to you, get more information about what it is you're doing over at Blue Reef Agri-Marketing. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, best way is just call our office here. It's 309-550-7213. It's always busy out there. I know people trying to, finish up field work, planting and, spraying corn, and it's a busy time, but markets are moving, and it's important to have a plan right now.
Yep. All the weather volatility that we're seeing right now is driving, grain and commodity volatility as well. So just like you said, man, reaching out and getting that plan figured out is probably as important now as it's ever been to do that. So a lot of moving parts right now. A lot of them. Chip, appreciate you being on the podcast, man. We'll catch you again next week.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Casey.
Right on. I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. Check out the video version on the YouTube channel, which is the Moving Iron Podcast YouTube channel. And you can go to TikTok while you still can. I guess they're almost got that one buried. You can go check that one out at Moving Iron Podcast as well. So With that, I'm Casey Seymour with Chip Nellinger. Let's move some iron, folks. Out. Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/moving iron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving iron in the 21st century.